this clip has popped up, and it has to do with money. And so I thought I'd play it for you and get your reaction to it and talk about it.
I can't wait.
You ready?
Yes.
Let's see what he has to say.
People always say, like, money doesn't make you happy, but it makes me very happy. I mean, I like to have money.
I don't think it makes you happy. Look, money's good in that if you have some, it can take away a lot of stress that a lot of people have that don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to say that my rent's going to be paid. My kids are going to eat. Not everyone can say that. After that, you look at certain things you need, you look at certain things that are luxuries. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it buys you happiness, though. It can buy you access to things you may want. And then, like anybody, you also keep an eye on those things you want, because more options don't always make you happier.
That's good.
Dang, Matthew.
The way he says everything is just so cool.
Oh, it's just, I could listen to his voice all day long.
He could have just said the ABCs, and I would have been like, that was brilliant.
I think
well
that's
done.
so smart.
But the content was rich.
It's a great point. It's a great point. Because there's one side of the coin that everyone's like, money doesn't make you happy. It's not important. And as Zig Ziglar, which this next generation has no clue who Zig Ziglar is.
Zig Ziglar, motivational speaker,
in
idol.
the 80s. But his quote, which I think is just so funny, is like, money's not everything, but it's right up there with oxygen. So, like, there is a level where, like, yeah, it doesn't necessarily bring you joy, but it brings you a level of peace because you don't have stress about where your next meal is coming from. Are you going to have shelter? Even to the point that if, a family member gets sick and you have money in the bank to go buy a plane ticket to go see them, like, all of those things, it gives you the ability to live your life. So, yeah, on one side, people are like, no, it doesn't make you happy. And I'm like, well, no, but it does, like he said, give you access. But on the other end, if that's the only thing you live for is the number in your checking account, you are going to live a pretty empty life.
Yes, I think chasing happiness through stuff is never going to end well, because we know that money and happiness, there's not always a correlation. There's folks in third world countries who have way more joy than most Americans do.
That's right. And
they don't have a lot of stuff, but they still have joy, which is the end result, I would hope, of happiness, which is longer lasting. It's not this fleeting thing of like, we went on vacation and it made us happy, and then we came back home and we were still miserable.
Right.
Because you go with you. And when you have debt in your life, studies have shown you're not sleeping as well. It has a physical weight on your body. And so I think that's kind of what's holding people back is if you're broke and in debt, it's going to be harder to be happy.
Yep.
That's the correlation.
Yes. There's going to be more stress, more anxiety naturally versus, yes, if you're debt-free and have an emergency fund, you have money in the bank, that money is not correlating to, I have that dollar amount, so I'm automatically have a better life. It's, I have the ability to use it as a tool to better my life if or when I need it.
Yes. And our research team, we've done this state of personal finance study now for almost 2 years. And this is over 1,000 people, so it's statistically significant. We use a third party to do this. And here's some things that we found. Over 100 million Americans now say they're struggling or in crisis with their finances. Mm-hmm. So that's about 1 out of 3 people.
Yep.
50% of Americans say finances have had a negative impact on their fiancés. That's interesting.
And because of stress brought on by money, 41% of Americans report crying at least once in the last 3 months. So that's a lot of stress.
That's literally a sad stat. Mm-hmm. That breaks my heart to hear that. And lastly, 41% have experienced a panic attack because of money at some point in their life.
Yep. So it has an effect on you. And that's what's crazy is, again, it's not just the financial effect. It's everything else. It's the emotional, the mental, the spiritual. I mean, there's so much that money affects in our lives. So it's not just numbers. And that's the one thing about math or about money that we talk about a lot on the show. It's not just about math. So you can argue interest rates and getting a loan and using, instead of paying it off, use that money to invest in the market. You'll make a better return. It's smarter to do. I mean, you can do math all day long, but that does not correlate to your mental, your spiritual, your physical health. I mean, all of that. And that money plays a role in all of that.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people that watch these videos, Rachel, they always come from like celebrities who have a ton of money. Yeah, and they're always like, hey, guys, I just want to let you know money doesn't buy you happiness. And they're like, easy for you to say, dude.
I know, totally.
I would like to experience that.
Yes.
I want to have a lot of money so I can say that money is doesn't matter.
Right.
And so
right.
I understand where they're coming from. There's this angst about it of like, you don't get to tell me that kind of thing. But there's so much truth in what Matthew McConaughey was saying. And what he really was pointing to is what we've been teaching for 30 years, which is financial peace.
Yep.
It's contentment with what you have. And that is what it's all about. And we teach, yes, build wealth and give, and that's great. But the end goal is not just that money's going to make you happy, so you should go get you some.
Yep.
The goal is get out of debt, have money in the bank so that you have peace and margin in your life to focus on what really matters.
That's right.
Which is your health, your career, your family, and yes, some of the stuff that money can buy. We want you to have nice stuff. Don't misunderstand. It's great to do that when you do it the right way.
That's
with
right.
Intentionality.
Yeah, and money is just a tool. It's a tool to create a life that you love, right? And so that's part of what it's for. And it's not the end-all be-all in life, but you can use it to have access, like what he's saying, to have options, all of it. So, man, Matthew, just bringing
the thunder, Matthew.
Well done.
We love it.
Such a deep thinker.
He is. I respect that about him.
MM.
Is that what you call him? Is that what he...
Matthew McConaughey.
When he was on your show, was he like, Rachel, you can call me MM.
Call me Eminem.
Call me Maddie. He wasn't on my show, Rachel. We should get him on Smart Money Happy Hour to talk about this.
That would be great.
Matthew McConaughey, if you're listening, I assume that you're a big fan. I know we were in your top Spotify podcast. Get in touch with our team. We'd love to have you on. But it's true, Rachel. Money magnifies. We've said that before. It just makes you more of what you are.
Yep.
So if you're a jerk and you're a miserable person, well, man, you're going to be a rich jerk. And if you're generous while you don't have much, you're only going to become wildly generous. We call those people philanthropists. And so that encourages me.
Yes.
And it can be different for you. If you're listening and you're feeling that stress, you're one of those people who has cried, who's had the panic attack, who's felt that lump in your throat, the knot in your stomach, you can have what we call financial peace. But it starts with deciding that enough is enough. We're going to make some changes in our life, do whatever it takes, draw the line in the sand to change our family tree and do something different.